Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and capture attention without saying a single word? They don't need to be the loudest, the funniest, or even the most attractive by appearance, yet something about them makes others lean in, pay attention, and feel their presence deeply. That is the essence of silent attraction, and it is one of the most powerful forces you can ever develop within yourself. Think about it. Words can be empty, rehearsed, or forgotten. But energy, presence, and the unspoken signals you project are impossible to fake for long. People sense them instantly. They feel whether you are centered or insecure, grounded or restless, calm or desperate. Before you ever speak, you've already made an impression, and it is that impression that determines how people treat you, respect you, and respond to your presence. Silent attraction is not about tricks or manipulation. It is about who you are at your core and the signals you radiate without effort. In today's world, where so many fight for attention by being louder, flashier, and constantly performing, the rare individual who doesn't need to do that becomes magnetic. People are drawn to stillness in the same way they are drawn to a flame in the dark. It offers contrast. It offers strength. It communicates, I don't need to prove myself to anyone, and that is deeply attractive. The ability to hold your own presence without noise is one of the greatest advantages you can ever carry into your relationships, your career, and your life. Why is this so powerful? Because humans are wired to pick up on subtle cues. Long before language, our ancestors survived by reading body language, energy, and unspoken signals. That ancient wiring still controls how we respond to people today. You don't consciously think, this person is confident or this person is insecure. You feel it, and everyone around you feels it too. Silent attraction taps directly into that deep, primal psychology. It doesn't shout for recognition, it commands it. Now here's the reward for mastering this. When you build silent attractiveness, you no longer chase attention. It comes to you. You no longer struggle to be heard. People listen when you finally speak. You no longer worry about being overlooked because your energy ensures that you cannot be ignored. This is not about arrogance. This is about quiet strength, the kind that makes people lean in because they want to know more, not because you force them to. Every habit you're about to learn in this journey builds toward that. These are not superficial tips or temporary tricks. They are deep, timeless principles rooted in human psychology and proven through countless social interactions. If you apply them, you will feel a shift in how people respond to you, the way they respect your space, the way they listen more carefully, the way they remember your presence long after you leave. Stay with this until the very end, because what you're about to discover has the power to transform how you move through the world. You will learn how to carry yourself in a way that speaks volumes without noise. You will learn how to create respect without demanding it. And you will learn how to build a magnetic presence so strong that people cannot help but notice you, even in your silence. This is the art of becoming silently attractive, and it begins now. What makes someone unforgettable often has nothing to do with what they say, but with the way they carry themselves before a word even leaves their mouth. Presence is not about being the center of attention. It is about the quiet strength that radiates from within and influences the entire atmosphere around you. People can sense when you are deeply grounded, when you are comfortable in your own skin, and when you are not seeking validation from anyone else. That inner stability creates an energy that others instinctively want to be near. The science behind this is undeniable. Human beings are wired to read nonverbal signals more powerfully than spoken language. Studies in psychology show that tone, posture, and body language often speak louder than words. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety, authority, and confidence in others. That is why you can feel when someone walks into a room and shifts the mood, even if they never say a word. Their presence bypasses logic and speaks directly to your subconscious mind. That is what true attraction really is. an unspoken connection that happens before thought even catches up. When you understand this, you realize that every movement, every breath, every moment of stillness communicates something about you. If you walk quickly, fidget constantly, or speak too fast, people pick up on your restlessness. If you stand tall, breathe steadily, and move with intention, people sense your composure. Presence is energy, and energy is contagious. When your energy is calm, centered, and unshakable, it naturally settles those around you. They feel safer, they feel respected, they feel drawn to the strength they can sense within you. This is why presence is the foundation of silent attractiveness. It doesn't rely on charm, cleverness, or appearance. It relies on the discipline of self-control, the patience to slow down, and the awareness to carry yourself with purpose. You don't need to be perfect, but you must be authentic. People can feel when your confidence is real and when it is forced. True presence doesn't come from pretending. It comes from aligning your inner state with your outer behavior so there's no gap between who you are and what you project. And here lies the opportunity. You can train presence. You can build it through stillness, through awareness of your body, through the discipline of listening more and reacting less. Every time you resist the urge to fill silence with meaningless noise, you strengthen it. Every time you choose to stand firm instead of shrinking back, you reinforce it. Every time you breathe deeply instead of letting anxiety control you, you grow it. Presence is not an accident, it is a practice. Imagine how powerful life becomes when people can feel your energy before you ever speak. Imagine walking into any room and knowing that your calm confidence will naturally attract respect. Imagine no longer needing to prove your worth through words because your presence already speaks louder than anything you could say. This is the science and art of silent magnetism, and it belongs to anyone willing to master themselves first. The truth is, people don't remember every word you say. They remember how you made them feel. When your presence makes them feel safe, respected, and inspired, they will never forget you. That is the secret power of silent attraction. Not noise, not performance, but the undeniable gravity of someone who knows who they are and carries that truth wherever they go. Calmness is the rarest form of power in a world addicted to speed, noise, and constant reaction. Most people live on edge, ready to snap at the smallest inconvenience, easily provoked, easily shaken, and easily controlled. But the one who remains steady when everything around them is chaotic commands an authority that words can never buy. Calmness under pressure is not weakness. It is proof of strength, proof of discipline, and proof that your emotions belong to you, not to the chaos of the world. When you master calmness, you stand out instantly. People notice when you don't flinch under stress, when you don't overreact, and when you hold yourself with composure in situations where others would crumble. This creates silent respect. It makes people feel that you are dependable, that you can be trusted, and that you are not swayed by every gust of wind. Calmness becomes a silent magnet because it communicates to everyone around you, I am not controlled by circumstances, I am controlled by choice. From a psychological perspective, calmness signals leadership. The human brain is wired to follow those who remain steady under pressure because steadiness equals safety. It is the primal instinct that has guided humans for thousands of years. In a group, the one who keeps their composure is unconsciously seen as the anchor, the protector, the one who can guide others through difficulty. Even without speaking, calm energy communicates authority. People want to align with those who embody it because it makes them feel secure. Calmness is also deeply attractive because it reflects emotional mastery. In relationships, in friendships, in any social interaction, people are naturally drawn to those who don't make drama out of small things, who don't escalate unnecessary conflict, and who don't allow their emotions to spill uncontrollably. To remain calm is to remain in control, and control is power. Not control over others, but control over yourself. That level of discipline is rare, and anything rare is valuable. To embody unshakable calm, You must train your response to stress. You must learn to pause before reacting, to breathe when triggered, and to ground yourself in the moment rather than being pulled into impulsive action. It requires awareness because most people live on autopilot, reacting without thinking. But when you train yourself to step back even for a few seconds, you break the chain of emotional slavery. You prove to yourself and to others that you decide how you show up no matter what happens around you. Imagine the strength of walking through challenges without losing your center. Imagine handling criticism without defensiveness, rejection without collapse, and pressure without panic. That level of calmness makes people look at you differently. They begin to sense that you cannot be easily manipulated, that you are grounded in something deeper than circumstances, and that is when silent attraction becomes undeniable. The truth is, the world will always test you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will pressure you. Life will push against you. But if you choose calmness, you win every time. You win because you keep your power. You win because you keep your dignity. You win because you show the world that nothing outside of you can control what lives within you. Calmness is not just attractive, it is transformative. It makes you untouchable in the eyes of others and unshakable within yourself. There is a language that speaks louder than words, a silent signal that communicates confidence, sincerity, and presence in an instant. That language is eye contact. It is one of the most powerful tools of human connection, and yet it is often misunderstood or ignored. When you meet someone's eyes with calm steadiness, you tell them without speaking, "I see you, I respect you, and I am not afraid." It is a gesture so simple, yet it carries an enormous weight in how others perceive you. The human brain is wired to respond to eye contact on a primal level. From the moment we are born, we seek it for safety, connection, and trust. Psychologists have shown that maintaining balanced eye contact increases perceptions of intelligence, credibility, and warmth. But more than that, it communicates presence. In a world where distractions pull people away from each other, the one who can give their undivided gaze becomes magnetic. People feel valued in your presence. They feel that their words matter, and they remember how you made them feel long after the conversation ends. Silent attraction thrives on eye contact because it conveys both strength and vulnerability in the same moment. Too little, and you appear timid or insecure. Too much, and it becomes uncomfortable or aggressive. But balanced, intentional eye contact communicates a centered confidence. It shows that you are not seeking approval, nor are you hiding from judgment. You are simply there, fully present, grounded in yourself, and open to connection. That balance is rare, and it draws people in without them even realizing why. Eye contact is not about staring, it is about presence. It is about holding someone's gaze long enough to let them feel your confidence, but softening it with warmth, so they know they are safe in your presence. This is why the most attractive eye contact is never cold or mechanical. It is alive. It carries the energy of attentiveness, curiosity, and respect. That is what makes it unforgettable. When you practice intentional eye contact, you discover something remarkable. Conversations flow more easily. People open up to you more quickly. They trust you without knowing why. They feel seen in ways they rarely experience. And because you are giving them a feeling that is so uncommon, they begin to associate that feeling with you. This is how you silently leave an impression that lingers long after words are forgotten. But the true power of eye contact is what it does for you. It forces you to stand in your own confidence. It challenges you to hold steady when your instincts want to look away. It demands that you be fully present in the moment, not drifting into thoughts or insecurities. In mastering eye contact, you are not just learning how to influence others, you are training yourself to embody presence, courage, and authenticity. Picture the difference between someone whose eyes dart nervously, avoiding connection, and someone who meets the world with calm steadiness. The latter is remembered. The latter is respected. The latter is silently attractive because their gaze carries conviction without arrogance. That is the kind of presence that changes how people see you. Eye contact is more than a glance. It is a mirror of your inner strength, And when you master it, you speak volumes without a single word. The way you carry your body speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Before you open your mouth, your posture, your movements, and the subtle signals you give off announce who you are to the world. People notice when you slouch, when you fidget, when you shrink yourself to take up less space. They also notice when you stand tall, when your gestures are controlled, and when your presence feels deliberate rather than accidental. Your body language is the unspoken story you tell every moment of the day, and it has the power to either weaken or amplify your silent attractiveness. Psychology proves that body language shapes perception not only in others but also in yourself. When you hold your body with strength and openness, your mind begins to align with that posture. Feel more confident, more capable, and more grounded. This is because your physiology and psychology are inseparably linked. Change the way you move, and you change the way you feel. Change the way you feel, and you change the way others feel about you. This is why body language is so transformative. It doesn't just influence the outside world, it reshapes your inner world as well. Controlled movement is the essence of power. People are instinctively drawn to those who do not waste energy in constant motion. Restless tapping, excessive hand gestures, or nervous shifting communicate instability. Stillness, on the other hand, communicates authority. When you move with intention, when every gesture has purpose, you project discipline. Others sense that you are not easily swayed, that you are in control of yourself, and that you are grounded in who you are. This creates silent respect long before words are spoken. Posture itself is a statement. A straight spine, shoulders relaxed but open, and a calm stance communicates confidence without arrogance. It says, I belong here, I am not hiding, I am not desperate. That posture creates space around you, and people naturally respond to it by granting you more attention, more respect, and more trust. The way you sit, the way you walk, the way you stand, each of these moments is an opportunity to silently radiate strength. Even the smallest details matter. A nod at the right moment, a slow and deliberate hand gesture, a steady pace when walking, these micro-signals accumulate into an impression of composure. People may not consciously analyze them, but they feel them. They sense the difference between someone who moves with scattered energy and someone who moves with deliberate calm. The latter always leaves a stronger impression because it reflects mastery. The beauty of body language is that it can be trained. You can discipline your movements the same way you discipline your thoughts. You can practice stillness, practice walking with intention, practice holding your frame in a way that communicates strength. Each adjustment is a small declaration that you control how you show up in the world. Over time, this becomes natural. It becomes who you are, and when it does, your silent attractiveness becomes undeniable. The truth is, people don't remember every detail of what you say. They remember how your presence made them feel. Body language is the unspoken force that shapes that feeling. When your body communicates calm, confidence, when your movements reflect control, and when your posture radiates assurance, you draw people in without trying. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. You embody it in every step, every gesture, and every silent moment you stand before them. There is a rare quality that instantly separates the truly magnetic from the ordinary, and it is not about how well you speak or how clever you sound. It is about how deeply you listen. Most people are not really listening when others speak. They are waiting for their turn to reply, rehearsing their response, or distracted by their own thoughts. But when you give someone your full, undivided attention, when you are fully present with them, you create an experience so uncommon that it becomes unforgettable. Listening is silent power. It requires no performance, no clever words, and no effort to impress. It is the act of showing with your presence alone that someone matters. Human beings are wired with a deep need to feel seen, heard, and understood. When you provide that, you satisfy a hunger that is rarely met in today's world, and the one who can make others feel truly understood becomes magnetic, because people always gravitate toward those who give them that gift. True listening is more than just hearing words. It is about absorbing the meaning behind them, noticing the tone, the emotions, and even what is left unsaid. It is about meeting someone in their truth without judgment, without rushing to fix, and without shifting the focus back to yourself. That level of attention is powerful because it tells the other person, your voice has weight, your thoughts matter, and you are worthy of space. Silent attraction grows strongest in these moments because you become the rare presence that allows others to feel significant. From a psychological perspective, deep listening triggers trust. When people feel heard, their defenses drop, their nervous system relaxes. They begin to associate your presence with safety and respect. This is why some individuals can inspire openness almost instantly. It is not because they say the perfect words, but because they create an environment where others feel valued without effort. That is the invisible magnetism of a great listener. Listening also disciplines your ego. It teaches you patience, humility, and control. It forces you to step back from the constant need to be seen and instead focus on seeing others. In doing so, you develop a deeper presence because you are no longer distracted by your own need to dominate the conversation. You discover that you don't need to fight for attention. Attention comes naturally when people feel your attentiveness. The more you listen, the less you need to prove, because your silence speaks with strength. Imagine the difference between someone who constantly interrupts, always trying to steer the conversation back to themselves, and someone who gives their full attention without rushing, without distraction, and without judgment. One leaves people feeling drained. The other leaves people feeling uplifted, respected, and drawn to them. The second person holds a quiet power that no amount of flashy words can replicate. The truth is, silent attractiveness is built not only in how you carry yourself, but also in how you make others feel in your presence. When people feel truly heard, they want more of you. They remember how rare it was to feel that depth of attention, and they will always associate you with that feeling of significance. Listening is not passive. It is an active choice, a deliberate discipline, and one of the most magnetic habits you can ever master. There is a certain weight that comes from speaking less and choosing your words with intention. In a world overflowing with noise, chatter, and endless opinions, the voice that cuts through is the one that doesn't waste energy on everything. People are drawn to those who do not feel the need to fill silence with constant talking. They are drawn to the one who speaks when it matters, who lets pauses breathe, and who understands that silence itself can be more powerful than words. Every unnecessary word you release into the world weakens your impact. Every careless phrase drains authority. But when you hold back, when you allow space, when you speak only after your thoughts have sharpened, your words begin to carry weight. People listen more closely because they know you do not speak just to be heard. You speak because you have something worth saying. That is the essence of silent attractiveness. Restraint that transforms words into signals of confidence. Psychology reveals that those who dominate conversations with endless talking are often perceived as insecure, seeking validation through constant noise. On the other hand, those who speak less but with clarity are perceived as more confident, more intelligent, and more trustworthy. Silence creates curiosity. It makes people lean in. It creates the feeling that when you finally decide to speak, it must be important. This is why leaders, thinkers, and truly magnetic individuals often say less but influence more. Speaking with intention does not mean withholding your voice out of fear. It means using your voice with precision. It means recognizing that silence between words gives them power, just as stillness between movements gives them meaning. People don't just hear your words, they feel the energy you carry and how you deliver them. Calm, measured, deliberate speech communicates presence. Rapid, careless, or excessive speech communicates uncertainty. You can feel the difference. When someone speaks with constant filler words, rushed sentences, and no pause, their message gets lost in the noise. But when someone slows down, pauses, and speaks with certainty, their message penetrates. The silence around their words makes those words resonate even deeper. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is emphasis. It is the invisible force that gives shape and gravity to the sound. Restraint in speech also demonstrates emotional control. It shows that you are not desperate for approval, not frantic to prove your worth, and not driven by the urge to dominate attention. You trust that your presence is enough, and that when you do speak, people will naturally give you the space to be heard. That trust is what makes your words attractive. Imagine the transformation of mastering this. Imagine conversations where people hang on to your words, where your silence builds anticipation, and where your voice carries influence without effort. Imagine walking away from interactions knowing that what you said mattered because it wasn't diluted by unnecessary noise. That is the gift of intentional speech. The truth is, the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more voices of clarity, strength, and purpose. When you choose to say less but mean more, you step into that role. You become the presence that people notice, respect, and remember. You no longer chase to be heard because your silence itself becomes a form of communication. Your restraint speaks louder than anyone else's noise. There is a form of strength that requires no explanation, no defense, and no performance. It is the strength of self-respect, expressed quietly through the boundaries you keep. People are drawn to those who do not need to announce their standards because their actions already make it clear. When you carry yourself with respect, you communicate to the world that your time, your energy, and your values are not up for negotiation, and that silent assurance creates a powerful sense of attraction. Boundaries are not walls to push people away. They are signals of worth. They say, I know who I am, and I will not compromise my dignity for approval. Most people bend too easily, saying yes when they mean no, tolerating treatment that chips away at their spirit, and shrinking their voice to keep others comfortable. But the one who honors themselves without hostility or arrogance stands apart. They don't need to argue, they don't need to justify. They simply live their standards, and others quickly learn to respect them. Psychology makes this clear. People value what is scarce and protect what is strong. When you respect yourself, you create an energy of scarcity around your time and your presence. Not because you are playing games, but because you know your worth. Others sense this and respond accordingly. They treat you with more care, they weigh their words more carefully, and they adjust their behavior because they know you will not allow what diminishes you. That is silent attraction at its core, the unspoken message that you cannot be taken for granted. True boundaries are not loud, they are quiet and consistent. You don't need to declare them to everyone. You simply live them. When someone crosses a line, you don't explode in anger. You calmly remove yourself, adjust your level of access, or refuse to engage in what undermines your standards. That calm firmness is what makes boundaries powerful. It shows that you are not controlled by emotion, but by principle. Living this way also frees you from the exhausting cycle of needing approval. You no longer feel pressure to please everyone, because you are anchored in what matters most, your own dignity. That freedom makes you lighter, stronger, and more magnetic. People admire those who cannot be easily swayed, because it reflects a rare kind of inner stability. When you refuse to compromise yourself for temporary validation, you show the world that you are already validated from within. Think about the power of walking through life knowing that you do not need to beg for respect. You command it by the way you treat yourself. You no longer chase love because you embody self-love. You no longer chase belonging because you stand fully in who you are. That kind of energy is impossible to ignore. It is attractive not because it seeks attention, but because it radiates certainty. The truth is, silent attraction grows strongest when you set boundaries that honor your worth. Not everyone will like it, some may resist it, but the right people, the ones who truly value you, will rise to meet it, and in their eyes, you will become someone unforgettable, not because of what you demand, but because of what you silently refuse to compromise. That is the quiet power of self-respect, and it is one of the most magnetic forces you can ever embody. There is an energy that people feel long before they notice your words, your looks, or your achievements. It is the rhythm of how you move through social spaces, the balance between presence and restraint, the ability to command attention without ever demanding it. Some people try too hard, pushing their energy onto others, overwhelming conversations, filling every silence. Others withdraw too much, fading into the background, unnoticed and forgotten. But the one who learns to balance their energy, who shows up with calm confidence, instantly stands out. They radiate a steady force that feels both magnetic and safe. Humans are highly sensitive to the energy of those around them. We can sense when someone is desperate for attention, when someone is hiding in fear, and when someone is grounded in quiet authority. The nervous system is constantly scanning for these cues. That is why people gravitate toward those who carry balanced energy. They feel at ease in their presence, yet simultaneously drawn to their strength. It is the paradox of calm dominance, soft enough to connect, strong enough to respect. Social psychology shows us that dominance is not established through volume or aggression, but through calm certainty. The one who doesn't rush to speak, who doesn't force themselves into every conversation, and who doesn't fidget with anxiety, often holds more power than the one who tries to dominate the room. Because true influence is not about being the loudest, it is about being the most centered. Balanced energy signals that you are in control of yourself, and that control creates trust. To cultivate this, you must become aware of how you carry your presence around others. Notice whether your energy feels scattered or stable, whether you rush to fill every silence or whether you allow stillness to exist without discomfort. The ability to remain calm while others grow frantic is a form of social mastery. It makes people lean toward you because they sense a grounding force in your presence. They feel that you are not easily shaken, that you are someone who can be relied upon, and that you do not need external validation to feel significant. This balance is deeply attractive because it communicates maturity. It shows that you are not ruled by your ego, not desperate for attention, and not afraid of being overlooked. You trust yourself enough to allow the room to come to you. And inevitably, it does. People notice the one who does not scramble to be noticed. They respect the one who does not compete for approval. They are drawn to the one whose energy feels both strong and effortless. Imagine walking into any social setting with this kind of presence. You don't rush, you don't force, you don't shrink. You simply exist with a calm certainty that others can feel. Conversations naturally flow toward you, respect naturally grows around you, and opportunities naturally find you. Not because you chase them, but because your balanced energy makes people trust you, admire you, and want to be connected with you. The truth is, energy cannot be faked for long. People always feel what is real. And when you cultivate calm dominance, when you learn to balance strength with softness, you become magnetic without trying. That is the quiet power of controlled energy. It doesn't just make you socially attractive, it makes you unforgettable. There is a language far more powerful than words, one that people notice instantly without ever consciously realizing it. It is the way you carry yourself, the quiet authority in your posture, the alignment of your body that reveals the alignment of your mind. Long before anyone hears your voice, they are already reading you. Shoulders that slump forward signal doubt, eyes that dart around signal insecurity. A restless stance reveals unease, yet a body that stands tall, open, and steady speaks volumes without saying a single word. It declares self-respect. It shows presence. It silently commands attention. Research in psychology has proven again and again that posture influences perception. A strong posture doesn't just make others view you as confident, it also makes you feel more confident. The mind and body are not separate, they are in constant dialogue. When you open your chest, lift your chin, and allow your spine to lengthen, your body sends a signal to your brain. I am capable, I am grounded, I am ready. This inner shift is subtle, but its effect on how people respond to you is profound. People naturally respect those who respect themselves, and posture is one of the first signals of that respect. Being silently attractive is not about perfection. It's not about walking around stiff or forcing an image. True presence is relaxed but intentional. It's the quiet strength of someone who knows they belong without needing to prove it. Every gesture, every step, every glance communicates something. The key is to allow your body to mirror the confidence and calm you are cultivating within. The more aligned your inner world becomes, the more your physical presence reflects it without effort. Think about what happens when you enter a room with your head lifted, shoulders rolled back, and movements unhurried. You don't even need to speak, yet people notice, they sense assurance, they feel a quiet steadiness that sets you apart from those who move with nervous urgency. In that moment, your presence is your introduction, and it is far more memorable than any words could be. What makes this so powerful is its honesty. People can sense when someone is performing confidence. It feels exaggerated, forced, or unnatural. But when your posture grows from a place of genuine inner stability, it is magnetic. It draws people in not because you are demanding their attention, but because you embody self-respect. Your body shows that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you have nothing to hide, and that you do not need validation to stand tall. This is not about vanity, it is about alignment. When you align your body with confidence, you reinforce confidence within yourself. It becomes a cycle of strength that others cannot help but notice. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to force anyone to see it. People are wired to respond to strength paired with calmness. They instinctively admire it, they subconsciously respect it, and they quietly feel drawn toward it. By mastering the language of your posture, you give yourself an advantage that requires no words, no effort, no noise. You become someone whose presence speaks louder than voices ever could. That is the essence of silent attraction, being felt, remembered, and admired without ever asking for attention. There is a power in silence that most people overlook. While many rush to fill the air with words, desperate to be heard, the one who can remain comfortable in silence projects something rare. Silence communicates strength because it shows you do not need to prove yourself with constant noise. It tells others that you are listening, that you are present, and that you're confident enough to let the moment breathe. Most people are terrified of silence, but when you embrace it, you immediately set yourself apart. Psychologists have long studied the effect of silence in communication. Pausing before speaking, holding eye contact without rushing, or simply being at ease when no one is talking creates a gravitational pull. It gives weight to your words when you finally choose to speak. People lean in, they listen more closely, and they feel your presence more deeply. Silence, when used with confidence, is not empty. It is powerful space. It is the canvas on which your true influence is painted. The beauty of silence is that it cannot be faked. To be comfortable with it, you must first be comfortable with yourself. You must release the urge to impress, the fear of being overlooked, the insecurity of needing to fill every gap. This inner comfort radiates outward and makes others feel safe in your presence. When you do not rush, when you do not scramble for attention, people sense stability in you, and stability is deeply attractive. Think of the impression you leave when you allow silence to stand instead of crumbling under it. In conversations, it makes you appear thoughtful and deliberate. In groups, it makes you look composed and observant. In every interaction, it shows that your presence does not rely on noise, that you do not need constant validation to feel significant. And because silence is rare in a world obsessed with constant chatter, it immediately sets you apart as someone who carries themselves with quiet strength. This does not mean withdrawing completely. It is not about avoiding speech, but about choosing your words with precision. When you value silence, you value language more. You cut out the unnecessary and deliver only what carries weight. People respect that because it saves their attention, it respects their time, and it reveals the discipline of your mind. In this way, silence becomes a filter, removing the meaningless and amplifying the meaningful. Being silently attractive is about mastery of self. When you can sit in stillness without fidgeting, when you can hold pauses without panic, when you can allow space to exist without fear, you embody true confidence. This confidence does not scream for recognition. It whispers, and yet it is heard more loudly than the noise of those who never stop talking. Because what is scarce becomes valuable. Silence is scarce, And when you own it, you become valuable. The one who controls silence controls attention. The one who does not fear silence never fears people. And the one who is comfortable with silence is already more powerful than most, because they have mastered the art of being. That is why silence, in its purest form, is not emptiness but presence. It is not weakness but strength. And when you embrace it fully, you become magnetic without saying a single word. There is something unforgettable about the way someone looks at you with full attention. Not a quick glance, not distracted eyes darting around, but focused presence that makes you feel like you are the only person in the world. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools of silent attraction because it speaks directly to the human need to be seen. When you look at someone with calm steadiness, you are telling them without words that they matter, that they are worth your focus, and that you are strong enough to hold their gaze without fear. Psychologists call this the power of nonverbal communication. The eyes reveal truth before the mouth ever opens. A nervous glance communicates insecurity. A wandering gaze communicates disinterest. Steady, relaxed eye contact communicates confidence, warmth, and authenticity. It tells others that you have nothing to hide and nothing to prove. And because eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the chemical that builds trust and connection, it creates an instant bond that no amount of talking could replicate. Yet the key lies in balance. Staring with intensity feels aggressive, while avoiding eye contact feels weak. True presence is found in the middle, where your gaze is natural, calm, and intentional. You are not trying to dominate, but you are also not retreating. You are simply showing up with openness and certainty. That balance makes people feel safe, respected, and quietly drawn toward you. The most magnetic individuals understand that eye contact is not about intimidating others, but about affirming them. When you hold someone's gaze while listening, you communicate that their words have value. When you maintain soft but steady eye contact while speaking, you project certainty in your message. This simple act elevates your presence because so few people do it with genuine comfort. Most either hide behind avoidance or overcompensate with intensity. But the one who meets the eyes of others with steady calmness is instantly memorable. The strength of this habit is that it requires no effort beyond awareness. You do not need to force anything. You simply allow your attention to rest fully on the person in front of you. In a world where distractions dominate, giving someone your undivided gaze feels rare, almost extraordinary. It makes them feel valued, and in return they value you. Attraction is built not just on appearance, but on how you make others feel. Eye contact makes people feel acknowledged, understood, and connected. The deeper truth is that mastering eye contact begins with mastering your own inner dialogue. If you are consumed by self-doubt, your eyes will reveal it. If you are trying too hard to impress, your gaze will feel unnatural. But when you cultivate genuine self-respect and inner calm, your eyes naturally reflect it. They no longer search for approval. They no longer flinch under pressure. They become steady because you are steady. And that steadiness is what people remember long after the conversation ends. Silent attraction is about resonance. It is about leaving an impression that cannot be explained but only felt. Eye contact is one of the purest ways to do this. It bypasses words, bypasses performance, and speaks straight to the human heart. When you master it, you don't just look at people, you connect with them. That connection is what makes your presence unforgettable. Attraction deepens when your words align with respect. People may admire confidence, but they remember kindness. The way you speak to others leaves an imprint far greater than you realize. Every tone, every choice of word, every pause carries energy that either uplifts or diminishes. When you consistently communicate with respect, without arrogance or unnecessary harshness, you become someone others feel safe around. Safety is not weakness. It is one of the strongest forces of attraction because people are drawn to where they feel seen without judgment. Psychological research shows that respect is a universal social currency. It crosses cultures, personalities, and backgrounds. When someone feels respected, their defenses lower, their trust rises, and their openness increases. Respect makes people feel valued, and value is magnetic. Anyone can be charming for a moment, but lasting attraction comes from the ability to treat others with dignity, regardless of who they are or what they can offer you. That rare consistency separates you from the ones who only perform kindness when it benefits them. Respect is communicated in silence as much as it is in words. It is in the way you wait for someone to finish before responding. It is in the way you listen without cutting in to showcase yourself. It is in the way your tone stays steady and calm even when conversations grow tense. These small, consistent signals send a clear message. I do not need to tear others down to feel significant. I do not need to dominate to prove strength. True confidence expresses itself through respect. When you cultivate this, you eliminate one of the most unattractive qualities a person can have, the need to belittle others. Insecure people criticize, mock, or interrupt to create an illusion of superiority. But the effect is the opposite. It reveals fragility. Strong people do not need to compete with others in conversation. They lift others by making them feel heard, and paradoxically, this lifting elevates them as well. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said, and respect always leaves a lasting impression. Think of how magnetic it is when someone speaks with calm assurance, never raising their voice, never trying to prove their worth through attack, but instead holding steady presence that invites others to rise with them. That person does not need to demand admiration. They earn it naturally because respect is rare in a world filled with ego-driven noise. The strength of this habit lies in its subtlety. You don't have to make grand gestures to be respected. Simple consistency builds it over time. When you speak, your words are measured. When you listen, your focus is complete. When you disagree, you do so without hostility. This level of control not only builds trust but also makes you unforgettable, because while appearance fades and charm can be forgotten, respect leaves a mark on the heart. Silent attraction grows when people feel both your strength and your respect. One without the other is incomplete. Strength without respect feels intimidating. Respect without strength feels weak. But the union of the two creates balance, a presence that is firm yet kind, powerful yet approachable. And in that balance lies a magnetic force that cannot be ignored. The way you carry your emotions in public is one of the clear signals of your inner strength. Anyone can appear confident when life flows smoothly, but the real test of presence comes in moments of pressure, conflict, or discomfort, when others lose control, when voices rise, when tension fills the air. The person who remains calm radiates an authority that words cannot match. Composure is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of it. It shows that you are not ruled by impulses, that you are grounded enough to respond instead of react, and that you have trained yourself to stand steady when others stumble. Emotional regulation is one of the most attractive qualities because it communicates maturity. In psychology, this is linked to resilience, the ability to navigate challenges without being consumed by them. People naturally gravitate toward those who can hold their ground because being near them feels like stepping into stability. It makes others feel secure, even in uncertain situations, because your calmness signals that everything will be handled. This is why composure is magnetic. It projects quiet confidence that does not need to be announced. Losing composure, even briefly, communicates the opposite. Outbursts, defensiveness, or visible anxiety reveal a lack of control. It tells others that you are easily shaken, easily provoked, easily broken. But when you breathe slowly, when you keep your tone steady, when you let silence speak louder than a rushed reaction, you earn immediate respect. People may not articulate it, but they notice. They feel the difference between someone who collapses under stress and someone who remains centered. The secret is not to suppress emotion, but to channel it. Anger can be transformed into clarity. Fear can be transformed into focus. Restlessness can be transformed into patience by pausing before responding, by holding your body steady, by training yourself to think before speaking. You shift from being controlled by emotions to controlling them. That shift is where strength becomes visible, and strength is always attractive. Imagine being the one who never needs to prove themselves through loud reactions, the one who never falls into petty arguments, the one who remains unshaken no matter how chaotic the environment becomes. That person is not only admired but also trusted. People know they can lean on them. They know they won't be dragged into unnecessary drama, and they know that their presence brings order rather than confusion. Trust and admiration grow naturally around composure. This level of control requires discipline, but it rewards you with an aura that no amount of forced charm could create. It sets you apart instantly because so few people possess it. In a world where most are ruled by their impulses, composure makes you rare. And what is rare is always valuable. Silent attraction is built on qualities that speak for themselves, and composure is one of the loudest. You don't need to announce that you are confident. You don't need to insist that you are strong. Your ability to remain steady in the face of storms proves it without words. That is the essence of true presence. Strength revealed not through noise, but through control. And when you master this, people are drawn to you not just for who you appear to be, but for the unshakable energy they feel in your presence. Confidence is not only expressed through the way you stand or the way you speak, it is also revealed in the choices you make about how much of yourself you reveal. Mystery is one of the most powerful elements of silent attraction, because it leaves room for others to wonder, to imagine, and to lean closer in curiosity. When you give everything away at once, when you over-explain, overshare, or overexpose, you dilute your presence. But when you hold back, when you keep certain parts of yourself reserved, you create a sense of depth that people feel drawn to explore. Psychologists call this the principle of scarcity. What is easily available loses its value. What is rare becomes desirable. Mystery works in the same way. By not constantly seeking validation through constant disclosure, you show that your worth does not depend on the approval of others. You reveal enough to connect, but not so much that nothing remains sacred. This balance makes people lean forward, wanting more because you have not given them everything to consume at once. Mystery is not about manipulation. It is not about playing games or withholding out of fear. It is about self-respect. It is the ability to protect your energy, to understand that your inner world is not for everyone, and to share selectively with those who have earned access. This restraint is deeply attractive because it shows discipline. It signals that you do not need attention at any cost. You are in control of what you give and to whom you give it. That control makes people respect you and wonder about you at the same time. The most magnetic individuals are those who seem to have layers. They reveal their depths slowly, not because they are hiding, but because they live with intention. Every word carries weight, every revelation feels earned, and every silence feels meaningful. This creates a sense of gravity. People sense that there is more to you than what meets the eye, and that unspoken depth becomes irresistible. Mystery also gives your presence longevity. When you reveal everything too quickly, interest fades. But when you allow curiosity to grow, when you reveal yourself gradually, your presence remains engaging over time. Attraction thrives on discovery, and mystery ensures there is always something more to discover. This makes you not only interesting in the moment, but unforgettable in the long term. The strength of mystery lies in simplicity. It does not require effort. It does not require pretending. It requires only the discipline to hold yourself with quiet assurance, to let others approach you rather than throwing every part of yourself into the open. This restraint communicates power, because the one who does not rush to be understood, the one who is not desperate to be fully seen immediately, is the one who holds true confidence. Silent attraction is about leaving an impression that lingers beyond the moment. Mystery does exactly that. It makes people think of you after you've left. it makes them replay conversations in their mind, and it makes them wonder what else lies beneath the surface. That lingering effect is priceless. It cannot be faked. It can only come from living with self-control, self-respect, and the understanding that not everything about you is meant for everyone. And when you master this, your presence becomes not just noticed, but unforgettable.